Welcome to Simple Local Life, everyone. It's Jen, and I am here this morning, or I guess this afternoon now. Today's flying. We're at Earth Angels Home Care here in Bridgewater, and we're carrying on with our Caregiving Talk series that we're doing. And I'm really happy to introduce everyone to Roseanne Burke this morning, or this afternoon. I'll get it. How are you doing, Roseanne?
Good, thanks.
Good. So, Roseanne, I know we're just going to talk a little bit about your story and start a little bit with how you got, I guess, involved with dementia care, and just tell us a little bit about your story maybe, and then we'll kind of talk about how that's related in your life and where you are now with it.
Okay. So I became interested in dementia care about 5 years ago when my dad was diagnosed with vascular dementia. So at the time he was 85 years old and widowed for about 8 years and living well at home until this diagnosis of dementia came along. And after that, I cared for him for about a year while he stayed at home, after which point he then moved to a nursing home where he lived for about 3.5 years. And I'm the only child of 3 that lives in the province, so I was very involved in his care and continued to visit him almost daily after he moved to the nursing home.
Okay, so that became a big thing then, that kind of you had to take on kind of the care.
Absolutely,
and I'm sure that was a big part of you learning then all about dementia and about this vascular dementia, and it must have been a whole learning curve.
It was very much so. So at the time of diagnosis, I knew nothing about dementia and was very frustrated and stressed.
Oh, I bet. So I think it's always helpful for people, either for those who have gone through or maybe those who haven't, but what were some of those signs that you were seeing back then when your dad was still living at home? Were you seeing signs of some that were bringing concern or making you realize there was something going on?
Yes, absolutely. So we know there are 10 warning signs of dementia that we should know about and be familiar with. And in looking back, I can see that all 10 signs were present.
Wow.
But at the time, again, I didn't know that they were the warning signs of dementia. So, for example, there was definitely memory loss, and not the memory loss that we associate with the signs of normal aging, like when you can't remember the name of someone that you met 6 months ago. It's what I saw was memory loss that affected his ability to live safely and independently at home. He lost the ability to do familiar tasks like making coffee and using the microwave. He was getting lost in familiar places, like when he went for walks around his neighborhood. He was misplacing things, so things were showing up in strange and weird places all the time. He could no longer discern real money from other currencies. Say that if there was currency from Mexico from a trip, or fake money. So that abstract thinking was affected. And then I definitely saw signs and changes in his personality, behavior, and loss of initiative. And again, I didn't know that they were warning signs of dementia, and with his diagnosis, no one told me that was part of the condition.
So you're kind of you're going through this, and you're learning a lot about this as you're going. And I know we mentioned, so your dad had what's called vascular dementia. So what's the difference, I guess, or what is vascular dementia?
So we know that dementia is just a big umbrella general term, that describes a set of symptoms caused by diseases affecting the brain. So under that umbrella, there's about 110 different types of dementia, and Alzheimer's is the #1 type. So for all the people that live with dementia, about 70% of them will have a diagnosis of Alzheimer's. The second most common type is vascular dementia. So it accounts for about 20% of all people who live with dementia. And vascular dementia has to do with the blood vessels in the brain and the blood flow to the brain. And if that blood flow becomes restricted, either because of a large or small blockage, then the brain cells in that part of the brain can be affected. So vascular dementia is often the result or comes about because of a stroke. And so a stroke can often result in vascular dementia, and it may be a stroke caused by a large blockage, or could be a series of smaller strokes caused by smaller blockages.
Okay.
That may even go undetected.
Okay. So I just want to make sure I'm understanding this right then. So if a loved one, so you would be seeing little signs of this, I guess. Like you said, you were seeing little signs, were you, beforehand? And then is there a stroke that occurs and then comes a diagnosis of vascular dementia?
So yes, and one of the key differences between Alzheimer's and vascular dementia is that with Alzheimer's, you typically see a slower progression of symptoms and changes.
Okay.
With vascular, you can see quite distinct step-like changes that come about directly as a result of those strokes.
Okay.
So my dad, for instance, did have a history of cardiovascular disease, and was being carefully monitored for all the cardiovascular risk factors. He never had a significant stroke per se. But there were distinct periods in time when I can pinpoint there must have been a vascular event that took place. Probably at nighttime that went undetected maybe.
I'm just curious if you guys are watching, if you've heard of vascular dementia or if you have any experience with it with your family or with loved ones. It's just really fascinating to learn all of the different, like you said, everything that falls under the Alzheimer's umbrella really, and how many different, I guess just different labels or different kinds that there are, and how that could look for your own family or for a loved one. So I know then, Roseanne, from your experience with your father, then this kind of really led you on your own really personal journey, kind of to where you're at today, didn't it?
Absolutely. So after about a year of caring for my dad, I heard of Teepa Snow, and I heard that Teepa Snow was coming to Halifax to speak at the Alzheimer's Society Research Breakfast. At that point, I didn't know a lot about her, but I had heard a little bit, and I was curious. So I went to the breakfast that morning, and boy, am I glad I did, because that morning really changed my life in that the information she shared was information, and knowledge, and skills that I hadn't come across in any of the other reading or research that I had done, and it was practical. It really made sense. And I left the breakfast that morning, went directly to visit my dad, and saw immediately that the tips and tricks made a difference and helped. And so within about 6 months, I went to North Carolina to train with Teepa Snow and to become certified because I wanted to help others in the same shoes as myself who were caring for a parent. And so I went to North Carolina, and at the same training session was Catherine McCrae, who's our client care manager in the Truro office. So her and I were among the first 2 people in Nova Scotia to become certified under Teepa Snow.
Wonderful.
And so Earth Angels Home Care has been leading the way in dementia care for well over 3 years now.
Wow. Well, I think it just speaks to your own experience from going to hear her speak and then putting some of that into practice with your own father, and then of course that really pushing you even further to want to become, so you became trained, you're a certified
Positive approach to care
trainer. That's right. So then you're a trainer, and then you became, then you started working with Earth Angels Home Care. And now you're their business development manager?
Yeah. That's right.
I'm getting it all. I think I've got it down now.
So a couple of hats, but we have in-house 3 positive approach to care trainers and 2 certified coaches. Of which Tamara here in Bridgewater is one of those certified coaches.
So if someone, I know you spoke about your own experience, but if you're just someone at home who's watching, or you're struggling with someone, caring for someone, how would people find out more about the positive approach to care? Is there a way people can access like some sort of information or training?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a great opportunity coming up here in Bridgewater on April 18th.
Wonderful.
As the leader in dementia care in the community, we're offering a free positive approach to care workshop for families, friends, anyone who's interested
Wonderful.
to come and learn about brain changes, communication strategies, and those practical tips and skills like hand under hand.
Yeah.
It's also an opportunity if anyone has burning questions to
Yeah.
bring those questions along.
Okay.
Because Tamara and I will be happy to help answer them.
Oh, good. Oh, that's exciting. So that's going to be here in Bridgewater, and that's free
Yeah,
for people
it's
to attend.
free. It's
Okay.
on April 18th, right here in this building, which
Okay,
is
we're
the Medical Arts
building, yeah.
building at 42 Glen Allen Drive. And it'll be upstairs in the boardroom at 7 p.m.
Okay.
And they can call
Perfect.
the office.
And I know sometimes you have people watching from other places. Are you guys putting this on at other places as well across the province?
We are there. This will be the first
This
of
is
many
the first
more
of
to
many.
come.
Okay, great.
So if you can't make it on April 18th,
Okay.
no worries. There will be more throughout the
Okay.
South Shore.
Perfect.
There's more in Halifax and on the other side along in the Colchester County,
Okay,
in
perfect.
Truro area as well.
Okay, great. So lots of opportunities if you're here on the South Shore or other places around the province. Then what a great chance to be able to come and learn some of these approaches. I mean, Roseanne spoke about her own experience, just going to that first breakfast and hearing about some of that, and then being able to use that and seeing the positive change in with her own dad, and how that impacted, well, obviously your life, but I'm sure his life as well.
Yeah, it did, and that's a good point in that the training is for both the care partner and the person living with dementia, because it definitely helped to reduce my stress and frustration once I understood the condition. I could put some strategies in place for his care, and then I was able to work with him to get tasks done that allowed him to do things that he wouldn't otherwise do. So he had a better quality of life.
Yes, wonderful.
As a result.
So I know then here at Earth Angels Home Care, all of your caregivers are trained in this positive approach to care, right?
Exactly.
Right. So if someone is looking and they're to a point or they need some assistance, then if they were reaching out to you guys looking for some support or some kind of service through your caregivers, then they are trained in this procedure, and that's the process they would be using then with their loved ones or your clients.
Yeah, exactly. So as the experts in dementia care, all of that expertise is shared with our caregivers, so they have the tools to successfully care for a person living with dementia at home. And then there's always ongoing coaching available too. So Tamara is hands-on on the grounds, as is Catherine in our Truro office, and they coach continuously through situations, so no one is ever alone with any type of challenges or issues. There's always help available.
And we've done some videos in the past with Tamara, and one of your caregivers was here and talked a lot about that, and Tamara kind of gave us a really good example, and I know that you guys have those on your website as well. If you want to go back and look on our Facebook page, you can just look under videos or look up the Earth Angels Home Care website. But if you're just kind of new to this, you can go back and watch some of those and see the examples, and it just makes so much sense when you see it kind of explained. Just the process of it, that positive approach to care. So it's pretty powerful, and I would encourage you to go back and check some of those out if you're interested in learning more about it.
Absolutely. And I'll just add to that, I know Tamara and Catherine are always available to pick up the phone.
Okay.
So if you have questions, you don't have to wait till April 18th to come to a workshop. You can call anytime.
Okay.
They are here
Good
in
to
the
know.
community to help people.
Oh, perfect. Well, it's just, you guys are such a great resource here, and I know it makes me feel comforted knowing, that they are available here, like she said, whether it's a phone call or whether it's getting some caregiving help for someone that might be in your family or a loved one that you might be taking care of. Anything else you wanted to add, Roseanne?
No, I think that's it. But again, if you're looking for information, our website is a great place. Earth Angels Home Care. .ca is a great resource with lots of blogs and ongoing information around the positive approach to care.
Wonderful, great. Well, thank you so much for coming in
Thank
today and chatting with us. And if you have any questions anytime, reach out to Earth Angels Home Care or send a message along, and we'll be sure to get that answered for you. Thanks again, Roseanne.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Thanks, guys. See you later.